On exactly this day, at exactly this time last year, on Saturday the 19th of March 2022 at 7 p.m, I staged my third Kabukimono event in St James's at Overseas House. I want to try and give you a flavour of what this event was like, what it looked like, what it sounded like, who came, the artists involved. And the music you can hear in the background is the instrumental version of a song called Ballet Dancer by Rusty Egan. And this was played at my event, the Kabukimono event, by English Garden Lounging. And the DJ set that was played featured all kinds of music inspired by Japan from the likes of Raichu Sakamoto, Yellow Magic Orchestra, David Bowie, the band Japan, etc. And I will leave a link in the description to the full Kabukimono English Garden Lounging playlist if you would like to listen to that on Spotify. And the play that featured in this event was called The Picture Book, and it was an exploration of this Japanese artist called Kawanabe Kyosai, a 19th century artist born in 1831, and he's as prolific, as virtuosic as the likes of Hokusai, yet far less well known. And I discovered him that year because I became aware of an exhibition coming up actually on the same day of my event, so on the 19th of March at the Royal Academy, which was the first exhibition of Kawanabe Kyosai's work to feature in the UK in over 20 years. So I got to learn quite a bit about him in the lead up to staging my play, and a few of the things I really found curious when I was writing the play and learning about him. The first was trying to understand this connection between Japan and Europe in the 19th century. So Kyosai was born in 1831 and grew up in a time of monumental change, and I think what encapsulates that change most has got to be Commodore Perry and the American ships arriving in Japan in 1853, basically bringing an end to over 200 years of Japan's isolation from the rest of the world. And after that, Japan was very much open, and artwork started to really infiltrate Europe, and the likes of Whistler, Klimt, Matisse, Monet, Manet, Cézanne, Van Gogh, Sheila, Picasso, all of these artists, Aubrey Beardsley, were so inspired by Japanese art, and it would not have been able to encounter Japanese art had that 1853 very tense standoff between America and Japan happened. So in a way, I was trying to get my head around the connections between Japan and Europe, but also I got intrigued by the character of Kyosai, the fact that he was extremely performative in his nature as an artist. He often frequented these shogakai parties, which were basically painting and calligraphy parties, and copious amounts of sake would be drank at these parties, and artists would be challenged to create artworks in very rapid speed, and it was incredibly collaborative and boisterous and not kind of a formal thing at all. And so that was a really interesting thing to explore. Also, I enjoyed reading and researching about the fact that Kyosai kept a picture book, a picture diary, where he documented everything from money he owed, rent due, sake drunk, all kinds of things he documented visually in a picture book that he kept, I think, from his mid-20s until he died. And it makes complete sense that I'm now on this Hanamichi flower path and creating my own kind of visual document, no doubt inspired by Kyosai. So that was interesting, and I guess I also really liked the fact that Kyosai was an independent artist. He absorbed the teachings of his master teachers as a young boy, but very early on he saw that he needed to transcend that, and he was not going to just follow suit in terms of the traditional forms of painting of his time. He wanted to do his own thing. He wanted to express himself in his own terms. So all of these ideas were things that I tried to reflect in my play, and I want to now talk a bit about the artists involved. So the flyer and poster which you saw at the very beginning of this video was designed by Catherine Suleiman, my sister, and she has incredibly gifted drawing and design techniques from her architecture studies. And I had as my main performing collaborator Hibiki Ichikawa, shamisen musician, who I've collaborated with on my first Kabukimono event, and it's always a pleasure working with Hibiki. He brings fantastic musical quality with his distinctive shamisen playing. And then, of course, English Garden Lounging, who I've already mentioned, playing the music pre and post performance of my play, and really getting the audience in the kind of mood and wonderment of Japan at that time. And so yeah, that's a little taste of what was occurring at Kabukimono III. There were lots of things that I could go into in more depth and detail. However, I feel like that's the kind of overall arc, and if there's anything that you want to ask me about anything I've mentioned, please just leave a comment or message me, and I would be very curious to hear from you. Other than that, I just want to say a big thank you also to people who I haven't mentioned: the photographer Edmund Chu, who took all of these wonderful photographs, and Nocturna Photography, who also took photographs at my event, and to my beautiful audience members who attended Kabukimono III this day last year. And that's it. I hope you have had a lovely weekend and look forward to sharing my next video with you. Bye for now.